A devastating realization on a Las Vegas highway when a father realizes his stepson is killed in what investigators describe as a road rage shooting.
Bro, I'm so sorry.
Now new evidence emerges in a Clark County courtroom for the man accused of the 11-year-old boy's murder.
At the moment, I got scared. I looked towards the front, and the worst thing happened. I heard the shot.
This is Inside the Crime, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Elizabeth Millner. Before we get to this case, there's a reason Law&Crime is the go-to spot for true crime content. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest personal injury law firm. They have more than 1,000 attorneys and have recovered $25 billion from more than 500,000 clients. In the past few months alone, a client in Florida received $12 million when insurance offered just $350,000. And in Pennsylvania, another client was awarded $26 million. 40 times the insurer's offer. Morgan & Morgan makes it so easy to fight for what you deserve. You can even start a claim from your phone. So if you're injured, you can start a claim at forthepeople.com/insidethecrime. Click the link below or scan the QR code on your screen. Now, it was supposed to be an ordinary morning. The 11-year-old boy was on his way to school. Then a single shot ringing out on the highway changed everything. Inside the Crime first brought you this case just a couple weeks ago. It's November 14, 2025. 11-year-old Brandon Dominguez was on his way to elementary school. It's around 7:30 in the morning. His stepfather, Valente Ayala, was taking him that day, driving along Interstate 11 near the 215 Southern Beltway. Multiple cars were on the roadway that morning, including one investigators say was driven by 22-year-old Tyler Johns. Here's what officers describe happened next. Valente's vehicle and Tyler's vehicle get pretty close to one another. Investigators describe it as two vehicles jockeying for a position on the freeway. Then both drivers begin arguing with one another. Valente drove away. Tyler reportedly sped up to his car, and then a gunshot rings out.
You're killing your kid?
Officer,
he's dead?
Yeah,
look. Why?
I shot at him, bro. I didn't know.
Shot at him?
I didn't know I had a fucking kid in the back.
I fucking killed my unit. Hang on. So I don't know what's going on. And people are saying somebody shot. One guy wants me to arrest him. Log some plates. One is going to be 474 Tom 52. One is George King 56. Baker 1 Nevada. I'll get you more in a minute. So I don't know what's going on.
I'm telling you the truth. Raging. He came up around the side, like on the merge. You know where what's the one that takes you northbound, eastbound over there?
Where's he going at right now?
It's in the car on the passenger side. It's on
over here. I gotta figure everything out.
Yeah, no, it's 100%
What happened?
I shot at him, dude.
Okay.
I didn't even know you had a kid in the car and stuff.
304 people last time you know.
So I got an ambulance coming. Does anybody else have any weapons? Got staying control. There's a kid shot in the back seat. Notify supervisors and stuff. Hey, bro. I'm so sorry. Do you have your ID? Okay. Just.
I'm going to school.
Just take a minute when you get a chance. I need your ID. I'm so sorry. Okay, we'll get this all taken care of. Which car is that guy's car? This one? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Watch the whole
hang
thing.
tight. We got a lot of stuff going on. I got tons of people coming.
Okay.
It's gonna be a minute, but just be patient.
Is necessary? One shooting.
No, he's gonna go to jail for murder. Okay. So we got a very serious thing here. Let's not go by this car anymore. I know that's your son, but let's leave this just like it is. Let's leave it like it is. Whose car is this? Do you mind having a seat in your car with him and just chilling?
Put him in my car.
No, okay. No, he has to stay. He's a witness. Shut your mouth, sir. I understand you're upset. I can't even imagine what this.
Emotions erupt because at this point, officers say Brandon is unresponsive, but they later confirmed the 11-year-old died, which was unknown to Tyler at this point while he's being held on scene.
Is there any chance that the kid will be okay?
There's always a chance. I don't know. I've seen, after 20 years, I've seen kind of everything happen. So I won't say it's not possible. I won't say anything could happen. If you're a praying man, I would be praying a lot for him right now. That's Henry. What unit is that?
I don't know. Let's see when they close the door.
Okay. They're going to.
Where's the pointer to?
I haven't got that far yet.
Okay. See, what car is you
This is the suspect vehicle right here. Yes, sir. Let me get some of your son's information. What's your son's first name?
Just call me my son.
No, the one that's hurt.
El nombre.
So he doesn't know his birthday? Okay, we'll leave it at that for now.
I didn't see the car. Did we make sure we double patted him down and searched him?
Yeah, I patted him pretty good. He said his gun was in his car. But I don't want to dig through it too much because. Let me ask him again. But where in the vehicle? You said the gun's in the vehicle?
Floorboard.
On the
It
floorboard?
got knocked on the floorboard. They're going to see the thing that goes up in the windshield.
Okay.
It should be right under there.
Okay. And it's just a black handgun?
No, it's a Canic. It's a two-tone, so it should be
Okay.
like camo on the top. And tan.
Hey, ding!
It's
Should be on the floorboard. The passenger side or the?
passenger side floorboard.
Yeah, passenger side.
If it's not in there, then I have no clue where it is.
Okay.
That's where it was when I was in the house.
Okay, yeah, it's there. Okay, like I said, I because of the nature of the incident, detectives will be coming out, so that's why I don't want to ask you too many questions. Because they're going to ask you a million. I'm
Can
sorry?
you guys like message my work and tell them that I'm not going to be there? Or can I text them and just tell my boss that I won't be making it in today?
Is your phone in your pocket? Can you reach
I
it?
have my watch. I can do it on my watch. I just if I do the Google.
Can you talk with your watch that far down?
I think so.
Now, let me uncuff you real quick. Hang on. Yeah, it's. Yes, yeah. Thank you. Go ahead and give him a call real quick. Don't tell him like details. Say I am not going to make it to work.
Yeah, I understand. Text Mark.
Yeah, you have your phone. Just do it on the phone. Okay, do I power that down so you can save battery? Like I go. So we'll probably take all the stuff out of his pockets.
Yeah, we'll search him. Let me get it back.
Okay. Well, I got bags. Yeah, I got bags. You just watch them for a second. I'll grab a bag. Hang on 1 second. NHP's primary on this, right?
This is gonna be Henderson.
Oh, Henderson primary?
420.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, ready to go for.
Just advise you the mother is en route. He is arriving in a white Dodge Durango.
Copy. Hey, the mom's en route. She's in a white Dodge Durango, just be advised. Right there. Yeah, the little bit I got, trying to preliminary, got a lot going on. So the black SUV and that blue car, they were both merging on. Some sort of road rage ensued. Shots were fired, and the kid in the rear seat was struck in the head. This is the driver of the blue car. When I got here, he said the rest of us is involved. This gentleman's a witness, and that gentleman up there is a witness. Okay. So I haven't interviewed them yet. I just told them to stand by and wait.
Yeah, sure.
And the juvenile is in UMC with FD, pension FD right now for the GSW. And this is the suspect. You guys have detectives coming out, or you guys working with yourself?
I don't know.
Dude, this just happened within 15 minutes. We're picking up cars for transport. So
Okay.
I didn't Mirandize him yet, but he's spontaneous utterances. If they get arrest me, I shot that kid. That started as road rage.
he's got a GSW to the left side head.
That's the stepdad, my biological stepdad.
And then these two are witnesses?
Yeah, and the pistol is on the floorboard in the blue car.
And mom's in route too.
Do you want me to get any of these guys on the voluntary on your paperwork, or do you want to do everything yourself?
I'll go grab paperwork for him, and I'll get him on state.
Oh, so for now, we'll just keep him here.
Tyler was later booked into custody and charged with first-degree murder. It's now November 18th. The 22-year-old is due in court for a bond hearing, and for the first time, he had to come face-to-face with Brandon's grieving mom.
Nobody should go through what I'm going through right now, Chuck. Nobody. This is not fair. He should not be out in the streets after what he did. And yes, he cooperated after he got out because he had no choice. He got crashed into because he was trying to leave. He did not feel any remorse for this. He was trying to leave the scene and just like, oh, I scared him, I'm leaving. No, it doesn't work like that. You don't just shoot at a person and just try to leave the scene. He got out and said, yeah, I shot it because he feels no remorse. Yeah, I did it, okay? Like nothing, like no. And because he was in between the two vehicles, he had no other option. The officer was already there. If no officer would have there, he would have just drove by. My husband would have just, stopped and not done anything. His car would have been gone, and we would have just been looking for witnesses for the situation. I do not feel like he needs to be in the streets, Your Honor. My son is never going to come back. You have him out in the streets. What if he does this to somebody else?
Prosecutors argue this was no accident. This was intentional.
Driver, Mr. Ayala, who was the stepdad of the victim, Brandon, who was driving the car, very specifically told detectives that he believed that the defendant was trying to shoot at him and kill him. And based off of the fact that these were two moving vehicles on the highway, that it was the speed and the velocity that ultimately had the bullet go through the back driver's side window and strike the victim. And so, under a theory of transferred intent and willful deliberate premeditation, the state's position is that that is also a theory of liability for first-degree murder. So, if we're talking about proof evident presumption great, which is required to hold him no bail under a first-degree murder, I think there's an overwhelming amount of evidence that shows proof evident presumption great of a first-degree murder here. So, first of all, the defendant immediately walks up to officers and said, I shot at the car, arrest me, puts his hands behind his back, and I think that that's pretty telling. But in addition to that, just separate from the defendant's statements, there's 3 eyewitnesses in this case, one of which is Mr. Ayala, the driver of the victim vehicle. The other 2 are just 2 separate eyewitnesses who were driving down the highway at the same time, one of which was ultimately struck by the defendant's vehicle. Both of them ID the defendant as the sole occupant of that vehicle, as the driver of that vehicle. He has the firearm and the shell casing on the floorboard of the passenger side of his car. And so I think that his proof of guilt is evident. Presumption of conviction is great based on all those facts and circumstances.
But the defense painted Brandon's stepdad Valente as the aggressor, claiming he was an out-of-control driver that morning.
Let me just say that this is a horrible, tragic situation. And it was an accidental situation. So I don't believe this theory under child abuse or anything like that even plays a role, because there was no indication that Tyler knew that there was a child even in the backseat of the car. But going back to the facts itself, and I understand that the victim's stepfather had his statement that he gave, but it's really completely opposite for the most part in regards to actually what happened. We have an individual, and I'm talking about the other driver, who was driving on the shoulder of the freeway to get around other cars. It's 7:30 a.m. He's got a kid in the back of his car, and he is driving recklessly in the shoulder of the freeway.
The judge sided with the prosecution after this hearing, ordering Tyler be held with no bond. But then we get to December 4th, and Brandon's stepdad Valente is speaking out as he's called to testify in a Clark County courtroom. Through an interpreter, he testified Brandon was in the backseat on the driver's side when suddenly a blue car cut right in front of them on the highway.
That's correct. I was on the right lane, trying to get onto the first lane of the 215. There was enough room there for me to go around him when he tried to crash me. And if I hadn't tried to avoid him, that would have caused an accident. Yeah, that's correct. At that moment, I avoid him. I am able to avoid an accident, and I still have enough distance to keep going. And after that, I'm able to merge there were still two cars in front.
When you say two cars in front, is that between you and the blue car?
Y cuando usted dice que había dos carros enfrente, había dos carros entre usted y el carro azul.
Correcto.
Correct.
Había.
When did you encounter the blue car again after that?
After that moment, after that, I got scared because I had my son with me. I got scared, but I kept going. But I did lower the window and I put my hand out because I had my son with me.
And so, where is the blue car when you're doing this?
¿Y dónde estaba el carro azul? After that, he was still two cars behind me. And after a little while, he actually caught up with me. He actually moved into the lane number 2 when I was about to reach the exit to Stephanie.
Okay, so he's in the lane to the left of where you're driving, is that right?
Entonces él estaba en el carril a la izquierda donde usted estaba, ¿correcto?
Correcto.
Correct.
Does the blue car kind of slow down to be at the same pace as you, or are they passing you?
At that moment, at that time after that, he actually speeds up so that he can catch up with me, as I mentioned before. And at that moment, he's actually trying to travel next to me. I look at him, I turn around to look at him, and at that moment, I see that he was already pointing a gun at me.
Okay. And this is after you had rolled down the window and said some things and waved your hand, is that right?
Y eso es después de que se había bajado la ventana y había dicho algunas cosas y había sacado la mano.
Sí.
Yes.
So you first see the gun, and what is the driver doing with the gun?
Y entonces usted ve la pistola por primera vez. ¿Qué está haciendo el conductor con la pistola?
Él estaba apuntándome a mí en la cabeza porque logré mirarlo.
He was pointing it at me, at my head, because I was able to see him.
What happened after that?
At the moment, I got scared. I looked towards the front, and the worst thing happened. I heard the shot.
What did you do after you heard the shot?
At that moment, after the shot, the first thing that I did was think about the security of my son. That moment, I turned around to ask him if he was okay, and I turned towards the passenger backseat.
And at that point, did you determine whether or not Brandon was okay?
At that moment, I turned around and I saw that there was blood on the passenger side, and I figure out that there was something that was not okay, and I turned around even more, and at that moment I saw that he was already on the floor.
So when the shot was fired, you said the blue car was on the left side of you, is that right?
Entonces cuando se oyó el disparo, usted dice que el carro solo estaba a su izquierda, ¿correcto?
Correcto.
Correct.
And then after the shots fired, you see the blue car move over to the right towards the exit lane, is that right?
Y después de que se oye el disparo, usted ve que el carro se mueve hacia la derecha, hacia la carril de la salida.
Correcto.
Correct.
Reliving and testifying about what happened to Brandon had to be devastating for Valente. Emotions ran high during Thursday's hearing. One officer fought to hold back tears describing what he saw in the backseat of Valente's SUV.
So you said that the defendant had also approached you. What, if anything, did he say as he was approaching you?
So yeah, he was approaching me. There were two other people on scene, but they were farther back towards their cars. They weren't in my immediate vicinity, so I kind of, in my mind, say, put that on the back burner just for a moment, and we'll try and figure out what's coming upon me here. As he was approaching me, I noticed he was taking off his hoodie, zipper hoodie, which was, I was in my mind, I'm like, what's going on here now? So I have this really wild allegation, and I see a relatively minor crash, so this is kind of a lot to process at the moment. But as he walks up, he kind of tosses his hoodie sweater under the buddy bumper / hood of my truck, and tells me I need to arrest him. And then, oddly enough, that's not the first time people have said that to me in my career. And you can't just you'd be surprised how many people just want to go to jail. That's not how it works. There has to be a crime of sorts. So I'm thinking, well, I can't just arrest you for no reason. I mean, why do I need to arrest you? That's what I'm thinking, and I said something to that effect. And then he told me to the effect that he fired a gun at the other vehicle, and I needed to go to jail. So I was thinking, well, okay, that's kind of also a fantastic statement. But since he said it, I'll go ahead and put him in handcuffs, and then continue on with trying to find out what exactly is happening.
Okay, so you put the defendant in the handcuffs, and then where did you place him while you were continuing your kind of initial investigation of the scene?
So once I said, put hands on before I put the cuffs on, I did broadcast and radio traffic. I knew that I had 4 people, and I was by myself. There was a gun somewhere, and I was in the middle of the freeway. So I wanted to get more units on the way. But ultimately, I did place handcuffs on him, and I placed him in the rear right seat of my patrol vehicle, where I normally keep detainees.
What did you do after you placed the defendant in the patrol vehicle?
I tried to keep people calm and still calm when emotions are high. Nothing good happens. So I did the best I could to be the picture of calmness, purposeful maneuvers and statements. The next major concern for me was the stepfather. He kept wanting to go over to where the vehicle was, and I didn't know where. I suspect strongly there's a firearm somewhere, and I don't know who has it. So I was trying to communicate to him to come away from that vehicle and come over towards me more, so I can, let's just say it that way. If I recall correctly, he then laid down kind of on the ground, obviously very excited and distraught. And before he came back to me, he had opened the rear left door of his vehicle, and he was shouting something to the effect of, "Come look, come see." I can't remember the exact words, but what I was understanding and perceiving from me was that there was one me to see a shot person potentially. So once he got away from the car, he decided to then, and the other 2 people that turns out they were later on at hearing as witnesses, they weren't any threat to me or anybody else. They were kind of just standing their ground. So I cautiously went up there to peek inside the car. I was still mindful of the stepfather who was laying on the ground. I didn't want to be ambushed. These 2 witnesses were kind of keeping themselves, so I decided to approach the vehicle.
Okay, and what, if anything, did you see when you opened the vehicle?
So the door was left open by the stepfather. As I approached the vehicle, I noticed there was somebody sitting in that rear left seat of this SUV. Can't recall the color, it was darker color.
kind of and emotional at all to get. And I try not to think about things too much, stay professional. So my job is to be professional, not think about stuff when you're doing your job. But there's a different, I guess. But anyway, so as I approached, there was a smaller person in the seat. And I could just see I think they were in jeans, but they were seated there, so I was like, oh, I need to see what I can do. I'm not a medic of any sort, so I know some basic first aid. I can pack a wound, I can put on a tourniquet. So I walked up to there and saw that there was somebody leaning over the side. I could see blood in the car, and a little bit of other stuff. I guess we didn't go into detail on that. But then I walked up there, I was like, hey, I didn't say anything. I was thinking, what's going on? Hey, so I couldn't see anything. I was like, was there blood? Was there injuries? So I got the person by their shoulders, kind of standing them out to see what the injury was. And then I saw immediately that there was nothing that, for sure nothing I could do. And I strongly suspect there was nothing anybody could do because there was a gunshot wound in the head. And I've never seen anybody survive that.
Drivers who were on the road that morning also took the stand. One described seeing Tyler's car provoke Valente's SUV right before the shooting.
What, if anything, do you notice next?
And then as I'm traveling behind him, I kind of start to get into the third lane. And then all of a sudden I see a black SUV coming up on the right in my mirror, and he's in the lane. He's coming up, and then the Honda Elantra like jerks at him, like what are you doing? Like almost tries to hit him, and the black SUV swerves, and then windows come down, and and by this point I can get into the middle lane, so I go left into the middle lane, and then as I'm going by, their confrontation kind of, I guess, stopped. I don't know. The black SUV went ahead, probably 2, 3, 4 cars. I wasn't watching him. And as I'm traveling, but he went past me and then merged in. And then I just kept traveling in the middle lane and past the black SUV. And then all of a sudden I heard pop. And I looked at my wife and I said, that was a gunshot. And then I heard a crash. And then I was like, oh, Doyle's going to the left. And I got into the left lane. And she's like, you got to stop. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm not running towards gunfire. You got a hole in you? And she says, no. And I said, neither do I. And that was it.
Did there come a time where you encountered a Nevada Highway Patrol vehicle on the side of the road?
So right after she said that, she says, she says, I got to call 911. And then she says, there's an officer right there, pull over. So I go back over 3 lanes and stop in front of the 2 semis that had an accident right there. My wife jumps out and tells him, and then he calls it in, and then takes her statement, and then that was that.
Okay. The black SUV kind of comes down, and you see the Hyundai
swerve at him.
Swerve toward the
And I was like, whoa, he's gonna hit him. And then the black SUV swerved too, and then window came down, and brakes, and I couldn't hear anything they were saying. I just assumed, F you and this and that, but I couldn't hear them. So, and then I immediately got over to the left because I was looking left, like, let me get out of here.
And so at that point, you're behind both of these vehicles, so you're watching this happen directly in front of you? And slightly to the right, I should say?
Yeah, to the right.
Okay.
Well, I was kind of watching getting over, and they were doing their little yell at each other, hand out the window,
Okay.
I seen the hand out the window, like giving them the bird, and
So, if I understand this correctly, you watched the black car kind of swerve to avoid the blue car striking it?
Avoid the Honda hitting the side.
Okay. And then, do you notice whether or not the black SUV is then able to merge onto the 215?
The black SUV went up to like where the end of it is, probably 2, 3, 4 cars up, and merged in.
Okay.
Like kind of left, and the Honda was still back here.
And that was before you can kind of merge
Yeah,
over.
and he kind of went in front of me. Well, he kind of went in the spot of where I left the opening because I went into the middle.
Okay, so you moved to the left, the blue Hyundai moved to the left, and the black SUV was
The
able to.
SUV went up and then merged in.
Okay. And then what, if anything, did you notice next?
As I passed the black SUV, I kind of looked at him, and he was just looking in his mirror, like looking back. And then I looked at my wife and I go, what the hell? It's not that big of a deal. What's he gonna do? Shoot somebody? And I said those words to my wife, you know. And then I passed him, and then I heard a gunshot. And initially, I ain't gonna lie, I assumed he shot.
Tyler Johns barely spoke at his hearing, saying only a few words to the judge.
Mr. Johns, you understand that you have a right to testify at your preliminary hearing, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are going to take the advice of your counsel and not do that today, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
His defense attorney argued the shooting was accidental, claiming the 22-year-old had no idea a child was in the back seat. But the judge ruled his case will continue.
As to the issue of open murder, the court does find that there is slight or marginal evidence for the charge that is alleged in the amended criminal complaint, and that the question of fact for a jury is the nature that the question of fact for the jury is the level that they will determine at the jury trial, not at this stage of the proceeding. The court also acknowledges the state's argument that, in fact, the action of the perpetration of the child abuse is such that it is the child that is the victim. And the court finds for this burden today, let me make that very clear, that the state has met its burden, and therefore of slight or marginal evidence. And therefore, Mr. Johns, it does appear to me from the amended complaint that is on file herein, and from the testimony that has been adduced at this preliminary hearing, and that the crimes of murder with use of a deadly weapon, as well as discharging a firearm at or into an occupied structure, vehicle, aircraft, or watercraft, as well as discharge of a firearm from or within a structure or a vehicle, have been committed, and that there is sufficient evidence to believe that you, the defendant, Tyler Johns, committed said crimes. Therefore, I do hereby order you to be bound over to the 8th Judicial District Court to answer to these charges.
Tyler Johns hasn't entered a plea yet. That'll happen at an arraignment hearing scheduled for Thursday, December 11th. Right now, he remains in jail being held on no bond. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Inside the Crime. I'm Elizabeth Millner.